I have worked with many commercial investors over the years. Most of them been intelligent, hardworking people who made good decisions, but sometimes they became a bit lazy, and this has cost them money at the end. In this video, I'll cover some of these situations, and I'll warn you that if you are offended easily, please don't watch the rest of this video. The first thing I've found is annual rent increases. In most leases, there are clauses there which have rent increases generally on an annual basis, and situations where options what the new rental will be at the option new period after the option. A lot of investors, surprisingly, decide not to increase every year as per the contract. Now, there could be reasons for it. Maybe the economy is gone bad, which is a good thing to keep things, in sync with the rest of the economy. But when things are trotting along pretty nicely, they're not doing it. The other one is a length of lease. This seems like a minor matter. Most investors want to have the longest possible lease, which is a good thing. But a lot of factors come into it, like the actual condition of the building, the economic situation, and what your future plans are for the building. I cover those in other videos. Another one is unnecessary clauses. They're recommended to put extra clauses in the lease for situations like demolition clauses, first right of refusal to purchase, and don't quite understand what the consequences are of putting this clause in the lease. Obviously, good reasons and recommended by the lawyer to put them in there, but it's good to understand why the lawyer has suggested this, and if it's congruent with their plans for the building in the future. Another one is not in tune with rent fluctuations. Because they were getting that sort of rent 2 years ago, and the tenant has vacated as a new tenant coming in, they expect to get the same rent again, even though the economy might have gone down a bit since then. It's a good idea to keep your ear to the ground with rents. Be competitive, otherwise you'll have long periods of vacancies. I cover this specific examples in my book, Commercial Real Estate Investing for the Residential Investor, which I'll leave a link below this video. So ensure what the rents are in the area. Is the market declining? On the other hand, is it increasing? Are you charging too low rent? Because some owners feel safe to have below market rentals because they don't want to lose a tenant and find a new tenant, which is a good policy in a way, but you've got to stay competitive and ensure you're getting the best possible return. Poor maintenance policies. It's a good idea to keep your property well maintained at all times. Not only does it save you money on expensive placement or repair bills down the track, it also helps to maintain your good reputation in the marketplace. Tenants talk. You don't want to have a reputation of being a bad landlord, maintaining your building properly. Another one I found is not dealing with rent defaults quickly. Landlords think that, okay, well, this tenant is behind their rent and they let it go for a month or two, hoping things get better. Maybe their property manager gets a bit lazy. I have found that the most successful way of dealing with this is if a tenant becomes slow in paying rent, act quickly. Organise a meeting with them. Find out the reason why their rent is behind. Maybe they've had a problem with their personal life or their business. May be temporary. You don't know the real reason behind it. Most landlords assume that they just don't want to pay the rent. They're hopeless. They're just becoming lazy. They're taking advantage of the situation and decide to throw them out. Before you do it, have a good talk to them. I can assess with negotiating with tenants to organise, plan to catch up on the rent in time and end up becoming good tenants and a track. Another one is not planning ahead with new leases. What are your plans for the property? If you're planning to develop it in 1 or 2 or 3 years' time, it could be a bad idea to have long leases. So think about what you're doing. Have a plan that you know that if you need to redevelop the building or major refurbishment, you may need to work out a time period 2, 3, 5 years in the track, where the building become vacant, so that you can undertake these works to improve the property, redevelop it, whatever, and to get more income. If the property is at its peak, at its highest and best use, then you can go ahead and do whatever lease you want. Consider these when negotiating leases.